to Switch to Linux, another supporter stream. Let me unmute the guests now before I forget to unmute. How's everybody doing?
Oh, just fine.
Doing good.
Very good. Good. So yeah, it's we're gonna follow our normal new practice. We're gonna get right on in. I didn't put the backdrop and stuff or put on my regular Switch to Linux shirt because it's hot.
Yeah.
It's like super hot, and I didn't even want to go up there and fish out the alien T-shirt. I'm just like, you know what? Whatever I'm wearing is fine. We can do that.
I'll send you some Arctic Air if you'd like.
Oh yeah, if I'd appreciate some. Actually, I will experience some Arctic Air tomorrow. Where I'm going tomorrow early morning, it's going to come perilously close to freezing, because I am north of Denver right now. So I'm like in the heat wave part, and then right along the mountain range, it's going to freeze tonight. So I won't be in that. I'll be in like the 70-degree all night, but. All right, well, let's go ahead and get into our discussion today. What I wanted to talk about is we want to chat about the single board computers. We do this every once in a while, but I wanted to bring this one up because the Raspberry Pi 5 is announced, and boy, if I was not on the road right now, I might be ordering me one. From the form factor, it actually looks like it's fairly similar. Never mind. Take that back. They actually inverted the Ethernet and the ports. It's like these phones, right? Yet why can you not make it with a very similar form factor that we can reuse our cases? No, that might make sense. Understanding there's a few new odds and ends that they might add to it that, you'd have to work around. But, if I have a bunch of cases laying around, why invert the Ethernet ports and the USBs, and it looks like the PoE port is on the opposite side as well. Most of the other things are, the power, the HDMIs are in the same general spot. Most of the other stuff is pretty close. But.
Well, if it's got a lot of major upgrades, it probably has to do with how they had to actually lay out the traces and the board to work the most efficient.
Yeah, I mean, people are calling it this massive beast, but it's not a lot different.
If you ever laid out,
is better.
If you ever laid out printed circuit boards, they're a pain in the butt to get them right and to get them so they don't have electrical noise next to other foils.
If a lot of the components are effectively the same, why move things to the opposite? Literally, if you look at the picture of the Pi 4 and the Pi 5, the USB ports and the Ethernet ports are inverted from each other. Why? The PoE sits right behind the Ethernet. Why? Yeah. But the power ports and the HDMI are both in the exact same spot. I mean, yeah, granted, I don't know.
Maybe they had to do that to correct some minor errors they were having.
I don't know. They do it. It's like phones, like this says somebody make a really good point about, iPhone, has their new cool case, that you want to adjust. Like, why can't they just keep a similar form factor? They're not changing a lot as far as the physical features. Why not keep a similar overall form factor to allow people to reuse cases? It seems a lot less wasteful, but wastefulness is
iPhone SE, it'll take the same case my other phone takes, my S7.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about, but very, very rare do you get that. I'm complaining a little, but that's okay. I mean, the Pi cases aren't that expensive.
I got a new case because my other one was clear and it started to turn really yellow.
This Pi here, the Raspberry Pi 5, is powered by Broadcom BCM 2712 2.4 gigahertz quad-core processor. I think that's a slight upgrade, but the Raspberry Pi 4 is also a quad-core. I'm not sure what the gigahertz is, although this is certainly an updated board. They have an ARM Cortex A776 CPU, 512 kilobyte cache per core, 2 megabytes shared L3 cache, and video core 7 GPU capabilities, supporting OpenGL ES3.1 and Vulkan 1.2. I think those are the biggest upgrades. The HDMI outputs are the same, dual 4K 60 frame per second, which is what the last one is. The RAM configurations are also the same. No real upgrade in the RAM configurations, except the Pi 4 had 2 gigabyte, 4 gigabyte, and 8 gigabyte. These ones they're just making in 4 gigabyte, 8 gigabyte, but we don't get any higher than that. And then we do have a little bit better updated wireless. We have Bluetooth 5. I did not pull up the Raspberry Pi 4 stats to see how it is, how it compares. But they have 2 USB 2 ports, 2 USB 3 ports, gigabit Ethernet port with PoE support, power over Ethernet. So a lot of it is similar to the last releases. I think we're seeing a little bit of an upgrade in the processor. We're seeing a little bit of an upgrade in the graphics. Not a lot else has seriously changed. They're coming in at 60 gigabytes or $60 for a 4 gigabyte, $80 for an 8 gigabyte. And I would probably like to get one of these and upgrade my work computer. That sounds fun. But that's kind of what it has. So they'll say with the launch of Raspberry Pi at the end of October, I hope to see a major new Pi release. I do know that a Raspberry Pi based on Bookworm is not yet a thing. I did just down the latest Raspberry Pi OS, and it is still on the old Debian version, which is actually causing a few errors with updating. They're like, hey, this thing is now listed as old, not or old stable, not stable. Well, thank you for not updating stuff. So hopefully that comes soon, maybe even sooner than October. That'd be good. But any you guys have any thoughts about the release of the new Pi before we get into some of the other options?
I think they just decided because it's so hard to find a new Raspberry Pi 4 now, and they probably stopped production at some point, not anticipating they were going to sell as many of the 4s as they thought of. And they just decided, well, if we're going to actually make these things, let's improve them and go to a 5 and release that.
No, it was the chip shortage that got in the way. They've been very open about that. And Raspberry Pis, you can get them pretty much anywhere. Now you can get them. It was simply a chip shortage issue was causing the.
Well, that gave them an opportunity to upgrade it.
Yeah. I am saddened by this is my test Raspberry Pi. The HDMI ports are not working in every case these days. It's like it's not pushing out power through the HDMI port. Now, you can go into the config system and tell it to push out a certain power setting. And I tried pushing out the lowest power setting, the medium power setting, and the maximum power setting. I was not able to get this run. So if I connect this into my HDMI switcher, which has power being supplied to the switcher, it will work. But if I just plug it directly into the back of my monitors, it's not pushing enough HDMI power to run. Now, maybe that's because I have really crappy monitors. I mean, I don't run high-tech equipment in this van that rattles like an earthquake every time I go down the road. Hey. That's possibly the problem. But sadly, my HDMI ports do not completely output on this one anymore.
Yeah, HDMI is kind of an old standard for computer monitors. Everybody's using DisplayPort, and it's on several versions out now.
Yeah,
we see a little bit of that. But yeah, I mean, Pis are good. They are useful. Now, they are not the only game in town. There are some other things. There's a new one called the Orange Pi. I looked at it. The problem I have with Orange Pis right now, they use more power, which means they're going to be more better with power. But in my off-grid scenario, I cannot find the proper types of power adapters for converting the powers into DC ports yet. And that's because the output requires more. It still runs 5 volts, but they have to run on I think 4 or 5 amps instead of Raspberry Pis require 3 amps. And you can buy ports that will plug into a 12-volt line and output onto the USB-C port of the proper voltage and amperage ratio for Raspberry Pis, but they do not have any of those for anything that takes more power like an Orange Pi yet. There are a few other boards. There's the RISC boards. There's the Pine boards. So there's a few other ones out there. So my experience has been limited to Raspberry Pis, which I have a ton of experience with. I think I got 5 or 6 Pis in the van here. So this one's one of my 2s. I actually have 2 Raspberry Pi 2s, and I think I have 4 Raspberry Pi 4s, and I have a Nano in here as well. So I have,
you have a whole lot of
7 Raspberry
there.
Pis in the van. So.
That's a whole lot of dessert.
It is, and this is why I'm fat. All right. Anyone else want to jump in before we chat over what uses do we have for these boards?
You know, it never stops amazing me why all this modern tech nowadays, whether you buy a motherboard or a Pi, still comes with USB 2 service on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
but
it might still be the cost of them. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, it takes to get out of USB 2 into USB 3 or 3.1, 3.2, or 3.4. You need the special IXT something driver that was originally supplied with Windows. Now we have it for. It takes a different driver to get above 2.
Yeah, and I've also seen like current day motherboards where it's got both 2 and 3 on there.
I got 3.1 and 3.2 there. I got the red one, I got the pink one, I got the orange one.
Yep.
They're all different speeds.
Yep. I have several different ones on mine as well. Salvo, you were gonna mention something? Was that a specific board? Oh, next segment. Oh. So, what uses do we have for Pis or other single board computers? So, go ahead.
Yeah.
Salvo.
So one use case that I know many are using them for is for either as a server of some kind or a monitoring system of some kind. And one of the options that I'm using at home, I do the manual configuration, is Nagios monitoring. There is a few automated or easy to use systems, and one of them is something called NEMS Linux by someone I know, and he provides images for several types, and he even has an appliance version that you can use for it's a complete virtual machine that you import into your libvirt system or some kind. And those using a Pi, installing that it gives you a web interface, a user-friendly web interface. And they even has a TV option where you can configure a smart TV to open where the homepage of the TV can be the monitoring display, which is, and the TV viewer is specially designed for TVs of any size that can hang on a wall in a room. Yeah.
Just have a picture on your wall monitoring stuff. There you go. So I had mentioned I have a number of things. Ivan, do you use any Pis or not?
Not anymore right now. I
what
first
have
started
you traditionally used them for?
Yeah. Well, initially, back 6 years ago, I bought this guy. This is a Raspberry Pi 2. I was part of a project for setting one of these up to use as a Minecraft server, personal Minecraft server. And that project went stale in 19, so 4 years ago. And then I actually put everything over into one of these guys. So I've got 4 in here.
Nice.
This one right here is one of them, but it's got the I need a new micro here, but it's, of course, that's micro soldering, so I'm not going to playing with that.
Yeah,
so I replaced
to Lewis to fix.
Yeah, and I was using 2 of those for basic file servers for some time. You know, I've got the actual drives right here that I was using, and then one of those that in that 4 case is a Raspberry Pi 3B Plus that I was using as a media center Pi for an OSMC build that uses the K word.
The K word, yeah.
Yes.
Don't mention the K word around there.
Exactly. So and then
more on the K word in a moment, guys. So
yeah, and I learned that I don't actually need that. I could actually build all my media off of a hard drive and plug it directly into my Roku. So that's what I'm doing now. So that gives me a 3B plus to do whatever I want with at this point. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. So they're just sitting here looking pretty up on my shelf on display to be like, hey, look what I used to play with.
And
it looks like a mini crypto miner.
Yeah,
I know, doesn't it?
You should probably hook it up as a crypto miner. It wouldn't mine a lot, but it wouldn't draw a lot of power either.
No, that's the other thing is the power draw. I love the overall lack of power draw on these things, and it's very low, and I love it, and I'd be using them all the time if I had a specific purpose for me here. Maybe a DNS server, I don't know. I'll think it over.
Yeah. Imagine having that small rack unit on a UPS. It could run for several hours.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, I actually did the calculations. If a nuclear winter would occur and the sun were completely blacked out and my batteries were completely charged in the van, I could actually run my Raspberry Pi for 1,000 hours. So, basic calculations. And Dan, you said you don't really have any experience with the Pis, right?
No, I don't.
All right, that's okay. So, what I've used Pis for traditionally, like I said, I have 7 in the van, as I said. This one is mostly just a free floating Pi that I can use for a lot of different things. I'm going to be doing some tests with the Nextcloud Pi software here soon. That'll be a video upcoming. Most of my Pis are actually built into the walls of the van doing things. This one's another one that's sort of free floating. This is a Raspberry Pi 2. This one runs the Retro Pi. So this runs every game emulator up to PS1. So I have several different video games on it that are a lot of fun. This gets used for me pretty much every Saturday. I get on there and I play some old retro video games. So you can do things like that. And as far as the ones that are built into the walls of the van, one of them is actually a workstation. So for web design work, you can use the Raspberry Pis as long as you're using a more modern one. This is why I would kind of like to look at upgrading to a 5. See if that would work a little bit better for that workstation. It might do, it doesn't lag out a lot on me, just a little bit. And I've been experimenting, or wanting to experiment with running XFCE, see if that takes a little bit of the lag out. Right now I'm running Plasma. The other one runs the dreaded K-word, and the dreaded K-word over here that we really can't mention. You can see what it is there on the screen. It turns out I have a number of really good tutorials people liked on this thing, but YouTube keeps on flagging them and giving me community strikes. And so you can watch my dreaded K-word videos on the alt tech platforms, Odyssey, Rumble, BitChute. You can find them over there. But I have taken them off of the tubies. But that center is really good because, particularly in the dead of winter, I can use it to interface to BitChute. There is actually a program for Rumble. I'll have to play around with it. I can interface it with my movie server and things, and that allows me to have things playing in a very low power setting. So in the dead of winter here in the van, when even in the bright sunny days I may not be getting enough power, I'll use that for half the day, which save a lot of power. And so that certainly is one of the uses that I have. Other ones, as Ivan was mentioning, I have one of mine is a file server and media server combo that runs Open Media Vault. I have a full tutorial about setting that one up. And that one also serves all of the movies and TV shows that I have locally on the van. So, I don't pay any streaming services. I just have built my own little private streaming service in my van. So those are the things. And then one more up there is actually a PHP server. So the PHP server works out pretty well. That's in an offline setting, although I really haven't booted it up for a long, long time. So I might thrash that for some other type of server or do something else different with it. I haven't made up all of my mind yet. But those are just some of the things I personally have used. We've done some tutorials on Pi-hole. Somebody in the comments had mentioned that one. Pi-hole allows you to run your own local DNS, block all sorts of ads and things like that without installing extra software on your computer, running it all through there. So those are some of the other fun uses. Anybody else have fun uses before I pull up a website and go through 50 uses or so? How many do I have here? 19. I pull up a website with 19 awesome uses for a Raspberry Pi.
Well, we'll be here all night.
Yeah, there you go. Anybody else have anything to add before we get into that?
Yeah, I haven't have a single SBC in my house yet. I haven't seen the need for it personally. Whenever I need something, I just install a new virtual machine.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, if you have a giant server, you don't really need them, really, just new virtual machines. In my case, they work out well because I can do a lot of fine-tuning with my power in the van, which is really good, but the fact that I've lived for 3 years on battery power. Not really, well, my whole life is battery power, guys. I've done that for a number of times, and the Pis help me do that because I have a little bit more fine control over power usage and power consumption. So let's go ahead and look at an article here from Make Use Of, 19 ways to make use of a Raspberry Pi. Let's see how many of these I've heard of and or done. Okay, one of these is replace your desktop. Of course, I do this. This is the official Raspberry Pi case. They're using an external hard drive over here, but they're replacing their desktop. Really, I mean, you're not going to be doing a lot of high, heavy tech work, but if you're checking emails, if you're writing documents, if you're doing basic internet browsing, the Pis work really well for that. I can get away with it with web design because what is web design? It's manipulating text files and then testing them on the internet. I can do YouTube videos at, if I run them at 720p, they run fairly smooth. If I run them at 1080, it kind of pushes the system a little bit. So just keep in mind that as far as that, now the dreaded K word, that can run HD stuff without a problem because, the processes are being used a little bit differently. All right, you can print with your Raspberry Pi. Never tried this one before. So basically this is if you have an old printer that does not have wireless, you can connect your printer to the Raspberry Pi and then connect your Raspberry Pi to the network. And now you can have a network printer with an old, so if anybody out there has an old printer that's not a network printer, you're like, man, the only thing I don't like about this printer is it's not network. Buy yourself a Raspberry Pi and then you can build yourself a print server. Sounds fun.
That will also work for those who have network printers with network ability, but they don't want the printer itself to be on the network and connected to a server which serves the rest of the network.
Yeah. There's that. The other thing, pretty much any local like USB powered device that you would want to access on a network, you could do it. The dreaded K word, of course, which we can't talk about very much here. But I have used this for a number of years, connecting it to my TVs or computer monitors to watch movies. I don't do music as much, although I can. Movies, music, and TV shows, things like that. So that's a fun one. Retro gaming system. This was using Recalbox? I've not heard of that one. I use the RetroPie is the one I prefer. And I actually have, for my RetroPie, since I was a child of the 80s. Yeah, baby.
Nice.
That's my controller. And if I'm playing a game that requires some beefier controller, like some PS1 emulated thing, I do have more modern controllers in here as well.
So was that the previous one? Was that an actual NES controller, or is that a reproduction?
No, it's a reproduction. It's a USB powered, so USB powered cable, and this is from Villross. Villross is the one company that was able to keep Raspberry Pis in stock even when everyone else sold out. So when I actually bought this Raspberry Pi, I bought through that controller on there because, man, I just needed that authentic Nintendo feel to play those Nintendo games on Saturday nights. So
yeah,
that was it. Ivan, you can talk more about the Minecraft servers.
Yeah, I mean, on on the unit that I actually did it on, which is this guy. This is just a 2, and it's effective all the way up to version 1.
And just so you know, Ivan, that thing as you're holding it up like that is disappearing into your background, so nobody can see it. Ivan's building Minecraft servers on air, guys. He's
If
good.
you hold it in front of your body.
There we go. All right, right there we go.
There you go. That's better.
So it's yeah. I mean, this one, it's only a 2. It's only really effective up to and including version 1.12.2. Because on 1.13, that's the aquatic update, and it's just doubled the resource needing, and it just bogs it down.
Yep.
And of course, that was at the same time that Notch sold everything over to Microflop, and I disappeared from that point from playing that game.
Yeah, that's probably a good bet.
Yeah. And you're talking about the old systems and stuff like that. Am I dated that because I started on a system that used one of these sticks?
Yeah, there you go. Is that when USB powered too? Wireless?
I'm sorry, what?
Is that USB or?
USB and Bluetooth.
Okay, Bluetooth Atari controller.
Yeah, this is for the Atari VCS, which is a 2600, 7800. It's a hybrid computer that you can play Atari games, and you can actually boot other operating systems into it.
I should get me one of those for when I want to emulate Atari games, because I have some Atari games too. All right. Let's see what else we got over here. Stop motion camera. Ooh, that sounds fun.
That sounds fun.
That's in a Lego box there, a Lego case. So I guess if you have a need for a stop motion camera, that'd be a fun one. Replace your door lapse. Time lapse video. That sounds fun. I probably can't say that word on YouTube either. An ARG radio station. ARG. So I guess you need to plug in a little antenna there, and they're doing this one on a Raspberry Pi 1. That thing.
Yeah, the transmission range on those is not very far.
This one comes with its own warning. Broadcasting over FM is illegal without a license. Fortunately, Pi can only broadcast over a short distance. You should be able to avoid getting into trouble. Really, this is a proof of concept project, largely unsuitable for urban use. However, it might prove useful in remote locations. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I think effectively the actual transmission distance is only maybe 100 feet. Okay. But I could be wrong.
So you could pass messages to your next door neighbor, I guess. But
essentially, yeah.
A Raspberry Pi web server. This is one of the ones that I do run. My PHP server is it's a full lamp stack server with ISP config, actually local. So that is certainly something you can do. That's actually pretty easy. Oh, you can create a Twitter bot. Sweet. I wonder if you can still do this. The X bot, right?
X bot.
Dun 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 dun. All right. An inspiring digital photo frame. Ooh, there you go. Off-the-shelf digital photo frames are attractive of somewhat limited space, storage, and purpose. They do more than just display your favorite family photos. So this one allows you to build a digital photo frame that delivers inspiring messages along with photos of beautiful scenes. You would need to get an external screen for your Pi. I have one of those right here. And by the way, that Pi that does not push the proper HDMI signal, this screen still works because the screen is independently powered. And so I can still use the Raspberry Pi with this screen, just not with my main computer screen without going into the size. But this guy here is nice. It's a little touch screen. It has the ability to pass out audio, although there's no speakers embedded on this guy. But we have, it has a mini HDMI. It has a micro USB for the power input. And it has a headphone jack, so you can pass through the audio HDMI and then export it through headphones. Photograph the night sky. Okay, along standard Raspberry Pi camera module, no IR, a no IR module is also available, particularly suitable for nighttime photography. That sounds fun. Hey, here's your NEMS network monitoring tool. So if you're needing to monitor anything on your network, you have the ability to do that. We have a Pi Plex server. We did have some warnings about the Plex servers recently. They're starting to crack down on some places, so you can host your own local server. Ha ha ha. I will note, I did do this at one point in time. I can't remember. I think I did do a video on this. If you sign into a Plex account, that system will always need the internet to function, even to do something local. But if you never sign it into a Plex account, you can continue to use your local stuff without ever phoning home to Plex. However, you cannot access the free content. Actually, no, I think you still can. You can still access the free content on this.
Yeah, you just can't access
your stuff from the internet. I have that right, Selby?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't access your stuff from the internet, if that is the case. You can stream live video to YouTube. Ooh! I'll stick with this big computer right now. Learn how to code on Raspberry Pi, so you can convert from your journalism degree over to stream
Brush up
PC
on your
games.
Python.
What's that?
Brush up on your Python.
There you go.
There you go.
Or your rattlesnakes. Ooh. Stream PC games to the Raspberry Pi. So if you're looking to become a YouTube game streamer or something, I would check your what's going on in your head right now. But you can definitely do it with your Pi. There you go. A smart mirror. What is this? Ever want to catch up with the latest news, movie trailers, pop videos, and traffic weather information while shaving? No. Actually, you can tell shaving right now is not high on my list of priorities, but, come around December, I think I'm going to shave it off, though. So get used to it until December.
I was wondering what that dark white thing on your face was.
Yeah. It's showing my age, though. I'm starting to age out here. All right. Let's see. So a smart mirror device powered by a Raspberry Pi. Basically, two-way mirror with a special display. So if you wanted to go through the expense of getting one of these big mirrors, you can display all this fun stuff while you're shaving or doing whatever you do in front of a bathroom. And then you can install
even more things to distract you while you're doing important work.
There you go. Yeah, you can set that up on like your like back behind you in the computer screen or something. I don't know. And then there's install games. Of course, Doom runs on everything. So I swear, like Doom is going to be like that. It's like it's going to join the realm of cockroaches and Twinkies. The world's gonna blow up, and the only thing left is going to be Twinkies, cockroaches, and Doom.
Yeah, that reminds me. I think we mentioned this before, but someone managed, because one of the items that you can build in Minecraft is a computer, and someone built a computer running Windows, and they installed Minecraft on the computer inside Minecraft, and then they installed Doom on that.
Nice. That's like Doomception right there.
Yeah.
So there you have that. One of them that's not mentioned here that is worth mentioning is Home Assistant. Home Assistant is this is a full home automation system that you can run with entirely open source equipment and monitor your whole house on a Raspberry Pi. So this is actually a pretty fun way of doing stuff. So if you want, there's calendars, there's cameras. This is all the different cameras that work with it, which you'd be surprised to find, even the things that generally push out to like Ring, push out to those servers. You can reconfigure them for using with Home Assist instead, so they won't push out. But you can actually get a number of different devices. Here you go. Here's your smart fans, I guess. I should get some of these for the van, right? Control my van, because it's like, it takes so long to walk from one side of this van to the other to turn on a fan.
Yeah.
I mean, this is hard, but oh yeah, wow, that was hard,
it's mind blowing how far you have to walk from one end to the other.
Yeah, but there's some things. I know, Quint, who used to jump on the show frequently, he would. He had one of these set up for their other house, so he could monitor, the whole family could monitor everything that was going on at the other house with Home Assist that he had running over there.
Nice.
So, there's a lot of fun applications that you can do with various Pis. The last thing I wanted to mention here briefly is, where do you get software? Mostly you just have to look around at your distributions to see if there's a software version. For people wanting Ubuntu, there's a Pi version for that. There's the Pi version for Debian, in addition to the Raspberry Pi OS, which is effectively Debian. If you're going to just run Debian, I would probably recommend just using the Raspberry Pi OS, unless you have a very specific reason not to, because it's actually optimized for the Pi a whole lot better. I'm using Manjaro, which just go to the Manjaro site and look at the download options, and you'll find a Raspberry Pi version in there. And I chose Manjaro not because I love Manjaro. I chose Manjaro because at the time I built mine, which is going now on 3 or 4 years, I have been doing my web design on that Raspberry Pi. At the time I built it, that Manjaro was the only system that had the Pi completely functional with all hardware. So I could do audio, I could listen to things, I could watch, everything worked with Manjaro, which I could not say that about Debian or anything else I tried. Ubuntu might work with everything now. I actually did some experimenting with NixOS that appeared to work pretty well also. So there's a lot of items that you can do. So really, you just got to look around online, Raspberry Pi versions of things, and you'll find the software. It's not like there's one central. I don't know of one central repository. The other places, if you have specifically a Raspberry Pi, there are a lot of things available in the Pi Imager software, which is now available as a Flatpak. So you can install the Flatpak version of that, and then you can just browse through everything that's available in that, which does give you a decent amount of options, although not everything. So, I don't know, those are my thoughts. Anybody else want to mention anything here before we get into the comments?
Yeah, one thing that for those who are going to use it for such projects as a home assistant or home automation of some sort, my advice is to have 2 units running, where one is a backup of the other and configured identical, because the hard drive or the flash drive SD card failure rate is higher than any other type of storage media.
Yeah, I actually had a case where my Open Media Vault wasn't booting one day, and I look at it. Now, what happened on mine is, as I was driving down the road, the thing got closer and closer to the wall setting, and then it rubbed up against, and it actually broke the edge of the SD card. But I actually have a backup of it, which is basically it's an exact image of what was in there. So I just popped out the dead card, popped in the new one, made a new image, so I still have a backup, and then boom, no loss of time. The only thing I did lose is I did not take the image backup since I built my ebook server, so I still have not rebuilt my ebook server. Maybe that's what I'll do on that other one, is I'll just build an ebook server on a separate Pi device instead.
Even though I don't have a Pi, I have a direction to go with this thing here. Okay. On top of the $80 to get the best Pi, okay, how much extra stuff do you got to spend to make it useful?
It depends on what you want to do, really.
Yeah. So in my case, like the cases I have, maybe 10 or 20 bucks. So I have a few of these cases, which are just, just clear plastic cases.
Right.
These were $5 or $10. My best case is actually one that the whole case is aluminum and goes right onto the core as a heat sink, and so the whole case becomes a giant heat sink. Even that case was only $15, I think. So it does depend. Like if you need a lot more specialized equipment, like if you want to, you can build a weather station with a Raspberry Pi, but you'd need to buy all of the various switches to do that. Like you'd need to buy the temperature probes and things like that. So it really depends on what you're doing with it. All the things I'm doing, other than cases, I don't recall I've had to buy anything special, other than in my case, I had to buy the buck converters to go from the 12 volt into the proper size. But I basically got to do that for every device in here. So
Well, let's say you want to replace your desktop with one of these things. What
Mhm.
actually do you need to get? Does it work with a mouse and a keyboard and standard monitors and stuff?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Everything's all standard. You just need a micro HDMI to whatever your output is. My case, I just use my standard, Logitech keyboard here with the Logitech mouse here, and that's it works perfectly fine with that.
I'm just trying to cover some
yeah.
things if some people might be interested out
Yeah.
there buying one of these things, how much extra junk they may need to purchase
Yeah.
to do a number of tasks with it.
Yeah, so if you're looking, one of the things to do, let me actually pull up some of the websites.
But is it still valid that you also need to buy the power supply separate?
Yeah, this is where I was going to go. If pretty much everywhere where you buy the Pi stuff. So Vilros, I found Vilros a really good company. I've purchased from CanaKit before, which is, I believe, a Canadian company. I purchased from both of those guys. So let me go ahead and show their website here. If you're just getting started, I would buy a kit, which are not overly expensive. So depending on what you need, they get the ultimate. So here's like the desktop kit, which comes with a keyboard, a mouse. This comes with a Pi screen, like everything you would need. Those ones are $230. I don't like the wired keyboards and stuff. That definitely gets in my way. So let's see. Here's an extreme kit. So a Raspberry Pi for 8 gigabyte is $174. Looks like this comes with your Pi. It has an SD card to USB card reader. It has a 128 gigabyte SD card. It has at least one. Looks like it has 2 micro HDMI to HDMI cables. It has a power adapter with a switch. It has a fan. It has a heat sink pack, and it has a case. So those are, if you're just getting started, you might look at those. Here's a basic starter kit. The 8 gigabyte starter kit's $139. This comes with pretty much everything the last one did, except it only has one of the HDMI cables, and the SD card is 32 gig instead of 128. It does come with a case, probably a power supply. Let's see. It comes with the Raspberry Pi, the RAM. Yeah, it has the 3.5 amp USB power supply. It has a premium black case. It has the fan. It has the cable, a 6-foot cable, the SD card, and a quick start guide. So those are really the way you want to go. I like these ones that come with the monitors. These Raspberry Pi monitors are pretty nice. This is definitely a better monitor than I have, as the Pi actually sits on the back of the monitor. Whereas mine, I have to do some extra weird, like it just connects just with a bunch of cables. So I got 2 devices next to each other. So there's a lot of options you can do. This one's a aluminum pearl white case. That's a sweet looking case there. This is $164 for the 8 gigabyte Pi. And this has 64 gig, 2 HDMI cables, really good case. It has a good power supply.
Yeah, I know them SD cards now come in different speed ratings.
Yes.
Let's see what SD card we get with that.
How fast of one do you really need?
I've actually found I use the best SD cards I can generally get. And I have actually found in dual booting my Pi with the SD cards is that it actually runs better on the SD card than it does booting off of the USB drive, which kind of baffled me because USB 3 drives actually have higher read-write speeds. But for whatever reason, in all of my tests, it works better with the SD card. Now, I actually re-image my Pi onto a new SD card about every year. So I do not want to run into a case where my web design computer stops working because the SD card has failed. And so I re-image it once a year. And so I just do those, and then I just throw the old cards into my rotation of regular used cards. That's CanaKit. Let's see. Ooh, they're already doing some Raspberry Pi 5 stuff if their website loads anything. Why is there a website not loading stuff? Well, I usually like the site, but for whatever reason, they're not loading images.
I'm
Interesting.
just trying to get our viewers interested in what they're getting into when they purchase one of these things and what else you need to use it.
Yeah, really, especially if you buy a kit, really nothing, actually.
Right. Yeah.
You just
need to
choose
get
the
the
kit
Pi.
for the purpose you have in mind.
Yeah, so Vilros, when their site's working, I'm not sure why it's not. Maybe it's something in the ad blocker system is blocking the images. I don't know. But that's actually where I've had a lot of success. They have specific ones for if you want to build, if you're just getting started and you're like, I love the idea of building a retro video game system. Vilros, and I think probably CanaKit also, they actually just have video game starter kits, which will come with a controller, the Raspberry Pi, the case. It'll actually come with RetroPie already installed in your SD card. You just get everything, plug it together, and go. Now they can't supply ROMs. You have to figure that out yourself. So, there's depending on what you're doing, you might be able to find a specific kit. Otherwise,
that
you
reminds
might.
me of another. Speaking of retro gaming, I've seen some people who are building using plywood and so on. They are building an actual arcade machine powered by these pies.
Yeah.
You have this gigantic arcade box with a CRT in it. And you open the back door in it, and there's a deck of cards running the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could get. I wish I could get Vilros site loaded. I don't know why it's not running.
Yeah.
But
And if someone's got a Pi setup or an equivalent setup and stuff like that, and they want to try to have as little bit of a mess of peripherals on their desktop, if they just need they could get a wireless keyboard such as this guy here. I had bought this for my Atari,
let me show you up there. Oh yeah, I got one of those up here.
Yeah. So from the Raspberry Pi 3 and up, you could get one of these, and it's got a little trackpad right here, and you got a little keyboard, and you could just go like this and use it, and then you could put this away on a shelf like Tom was just doing, and when you don't need it. But of course,
those are nice. I do like those.
Yeah, they're very handy, very small, very light, very easy to use, versatile, uses Bluetooth, and it's good. I like it.
Again, I'm just trying to see if I can. Yeah, so here's on Vilros. That's a Pi 3. Let's see. I wish they're. Let me see if I might have the website wrong or something goofy.
I know that guy over in the UK explaining computers. He always reviews different single board computers all the time.
Yeah, for whatever reason, images are simply not loading on their site. I have no idea why.
There's also someone who has built a mini desktop case around a Raspberry Pi.
Can any of you guys actually see the images on Vilros?
No,
I tried them on LibreWolf, Firefox. Neither one of those are working. Let me try Chromium. It's got to be either a misconfiguration on their store or something in my firewall is blocking all of their images. Now they're using Shopify, so
I don't have the address for the website.
It's vilors.com. Yeah, I can't pull it up on any of my systems, so that's probably the case. All right, we better get into our comments here because we're running low in time here. Comer fan, greetings, Jeff Kelly. Beard is looking good, thank you. Although I think you might be the one who said later on, "Don't shave it, don't shave it." Illustrator ads, hello to you, Adam Hammer. The hammer is here. I should make him a moderator just so he can have the band hammer. KO2610, greetings. Anchorage, hello. Oh, when am I going to invest in a new mouse for this thing? Because it's rolling all over the place. Might finally buy it on Raspberry Pi 5 8GB once there's a good supply and some decent case options. Yeah, for sure. Actually, Surface is lower profile than through the hole. Let's see. No one has the money, but they can afford an expensive iPhone. Yeah, that is certainly one thing. As I see people like, I can't afford anything. Well, yeah, but I see that you have a phone that you're paying monthly payments on. Maybe stop paying monthly payments for phones.
Hey! I bought the cheapest one they had, and I paid outright for it too. I didn't put it on a plan.
Absolutely, that's the way you should do it. If you have to put your phone on a payment plan, you need to reevaluate. If you're trying to put your phone on a payment plan, you need to go to Walmart and buy one of those spyware phones for $30 and use that.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what you should do if you cannot afford to outright buy your phone. If you can, hey, have fun with it. Same here, just drinking some pumpkin spice tea. Ew.
Ugh.
It's like I absolutely despise autumn for the one thing is that everything is like pumpkin spice, pumpkin spice, pumpkin spice. Vomit spice. Blah. No, a lot of cheaper monitors are still HDMI and VGA only. Yeah, I agree. Best Linux for Pi. When I built my Pi, Manjaro was the best. It would not surprise me if there are other good options. I played around with NixOS. That seemed to work really good as well. It wouldn't surprise me if other systems worked out well. I would like to maybe try Fedora on it and see if that would work. There's other things I think I'd like. Debian did not work super well on it, although that was even before Bookworm was released. So maybe I need to try it again and see how that works.
Well, it should have worked on an older Pi. They just didn't make them as compatible as they could.
It was just the fact that some of the hardware just didn't work as well. Like your audio ports weren't working in many cases. There were a few other. I just can't remember what.
Well, now that they're actually offering non-free firmware, it might work out better.
It might, yeah. I know that's one of the problems with. I have one of the Raspberry Pi touchscreens, but that thing, like getting that thing to work. Now, I bought it a few years ago. We're going back maybe 4 years ago. I bought it. Even now, there's still some shenanigans you might have to do to make that thing work. Home Assistant and Homebridge for automation. Yep, there you go. We covered that one. 5 is approximately twice as fast as the 4, according to Jeff Geerling. So yeah, I mean it should be a good option. That might be a present I buy myself when I get back into Pennsylvania. Probably some cases for 5 you can print yourself. Yeah. The Pi robot Pi posted. No, I didn't. Okay, let's see. Xbot 360. How many hidden security guards has around him? Who? What? I'm just skimming the comments here. So, yeah, Jeff Kelly tells me not to shave the beard off. I don't know, man. It's like super hot right now, but I don't know. Well, I'm not a huge fan of it. It's like it's getting to that annoying phase, and so it's just like. But then, obviously, it's more difficult shaving in the van, and so letting it grow in the van makes a lot of sense, too. But,
Take your beard down to the river.
Yeah, that's usually what I do. When I need to shave, I will go find some spot out in the BLM land, and I'll do my head, shave everything.
Yeah, I think when you get south of a certain latitude, you have to do that. It might be
that or get it braided.
Yeah, well, either or. I mean, it's a little short to braid yet, but we'll see. This though is only like 2 months. Like last time I shaved, I think was in middle of July. So
you can let it go right into total pirate.
Oh yeah, I mean, I could. I mean, if I don't shave it off by Christmas, I'm gonna look like Santa. I just need to put on a few more pounds.
Ho ho ho.
That's right. Local Micro Center has no pies in stock. Yeah, for a while Best Buy was selling them, but I think they stopped. That might have. I don't know if it was poor sales or if it was just the chip shortage. I don't know.
They had to make room for all those NVIDIA Founder Edition cards.
No, yeah.
Pi 5 is an orange Pi 5. Our Pi 5 will not be released. Well, they've announced the Raspberry Pi 5, so.
Yeah, that thing is releasing next month.
Unless you know something I don't know. Let's see. We have 28 watching on ZTubies. We got 21 currently watching over on Odyssey, and we're going to get to those comments now. Raspberry Pi can also be used to test ARM OSs. Yep. That's why I keep a floating one around, although it's sad I can't easily plug it into my monitor anymore. So I thought about swapping this board with my PHP server board. The challenge I have with that, of course, is if you remember, this board is the one that they built these ones with the chip shortage, and they came with a completely different firmware. So the software that's on that is no longer compatible with this. Which is like, you know what? I really haven't booted that system anyway in a long time. Why don't I just swap the boards out and use them? Because I really don't need that. I mean, that one still works with monitors. I tested it. So I don't know. Let's see. No bells, whistles, wind roach, sneaker. Let's see. That's on the VCS now. Why do I have VCR in my bind? Uh-oh.
I can change the clock on those puppies.
There you go. On the VCR? Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not a teenager anymore, so I have zero interest in computer games. Yeah, I'm pretty close to with you there. I just Saturday night, I play a couple video games, on the old retro. Remember my childhood, I don't really have a use or a need for them as of right now. They're great little devices, though. Yep. Look for alternatives to Pis before buying one. I've seen a lot cheaper versions under different names. Yeah, I kind of want to try. One of the Pine boards as well. The problem is you just need to make sure that whatever you're getting has support for whatever you're trying to use. So I don't know if there's as many operating systems that support a Pine board as a Raspberry Pi. Okay, had a Raspberry Pi 2 5 years ago. Played around with Pi hole, ad block, RetroPie, but it frizzled out of 6 months. More or less a tinker toy. Yep.
That's what I'm afraid if I get one.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody wants to get me one for Christmas, I wouldn't balk at that, but I'm not going to run out and buy something that has no destination in my mind.
Maybe I'll buy you one, or I'll send you one of these old ones.
Yeah, here, take this one. Just for you.
There you go.
Yeah.
Just reach out your screen and take it. Ivan is now pretending he's Willy Wonka, and he's going to deliver through the TV screen a Raspberry Pi to Dan.
Oh, I can be Willy Wonka. I can do a great impression sometimes. It's scary.
All right, let's hear it. You can't tell us that and then not do it.
Yeah.
Oh, it would take a moment to
You put yourself on the spot now.
Yeah.
I'd have to get in the character.
All right, we got 32 watching on Rumble, so that means combined together we have 100 people watching. Thank you, guys. Just downloaded Lee's Pi 4 Plasma. Lee's P video on YouTube. There you go. Make my adjustments and re-upload a copy with his permission, of course. I've been using mine as my business PC and my 18-wheeler. That's awesome. Fellow Overlander. How's it going, man? Just joshing it, 78. Great for grandparents. I don't know about grandparents. I don't know. My mother can't figure out a regular computer, let alone a credit card size computer. Where's the power button? Which, by the way, the Raspberry Pi 5 has a power button.
Yes.
I'm hoping that, it's only that optional thing because half of the implementation I have, the power button is the switch that it's wired into. So,
yeah.
Yeah, you can't have any parasite leaks in your electrical system.
Yep. To build in your car and have audio through your car. Yep. Missed the beginning of the video. Is there a reason for the video? Because the Pi 5 is coming out. Yes, Purple Tiger. The Pi 5 has been announced for October. Canakit is in North Vancouver. Yeah, when I've ordered from Canakit, I have had stuff in less than a week. They are really fast at shipping. And I went to Vilros because everyone else was sold out. I tried Vilros, and despite an initial error in my order, they fixed it like in a heartbeat. So that was good. So I do like Vilros as well. Let's see. Yes, just checked into the Matrix, and it's inspired by the Pi 5. What? The Matrix? Uh-oh. Oh, dear.
Someone
that must be
made,
Element Matrix.
Yeah.
Oh, there is a
Someone
new Matrix version coming out, too, by the way.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Someone actually made a Christmas tree add-on that you can plug into your Pi.
Nice.
Using LED lights and it is a tree-shaped
That's
board.
kind of cute.
Yeah.
I gotta find this Raspberry Pi Christmas tree.
Yeah, 3D Christmas tree kit. I
My
posted
Christmas tree has 1 million transistors in it.
yeah,
Oh, jeez.
yeah. I posted a link in the Matrix live channel.
Oh, I don't have that up right now. So, is this the one here? 3D Christmas tree for the Raspberry Pi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sweet. I thought about doing something. I don't know if doing it Pi or something else, but I have about 100 LED lights, like 12-volt LED lights, sort of like 0.1 amp per LED light, because I needed to get a couple of them for an application in the van, but I ended up having used 5, but 120 was the minimum order. So I have like 100 or so little LED lights flying. I should like do something on the panel and then power it with a Pi or something. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I remember when I, in my second year of high school, when I lived at the school, I had hanging in my window Christmas tree lights that was hanging in the form of a giant cross throughout the entire window. The neighbors didn't like that too much.
Yeah. All right. I think we're going to jump off here. If you're a supporter and you want to hang out for the after show, you can jump on now. Support stream. I think I forgot to put the link in the Patreon, and the email, but it's the same link as always, so you can go find it over there. But we're going to jump off of the streaming now and hang out offline for a bit. So we'll catch you guys later. Weekly news roundup. Oh, wait, hold on. There's one thing I wanted to do first. Before we wrap up, I took a fun little trip, so I want to show you guys a couple of photos here. Let me go there and desktop view. There we are. There's some photos for you. So I went out to the Great Sand Dunes, so here's just kind of walking through the little tree posts out into the dunes. And basically I needed to call the Jedis because I was stuck on Tatooine, but really beautiful spot. Largest, so it's like the tallest sand dunes in North America. I think the largest by surface area is Kilpecker Sand Dunes. Definitely impressive. I still like White Sands a little bit better, just because it's out of this world, how everything's pure white, but this was still incredible. So like a fool, I hiked up to the highest peak, almost died in the process because like hiking in sand is already hard, right?
That's like one of them desert scenes you see in the movies.
Oh, it gets worse. Hold
where
on.
the guy's got his tongue hanging out of it and he's dragging himself through the sand.
Quantum Alpha said over on Matrix, he said, this is a picture of thirst. Not that one. We're getting to the picture of thirst. But it was a 1.75 mile hike, 600 feet up in sand, which it's already hard to walk through sand. So according to my watch, I have actually exceeded just yesterday. I think I have exceeded 3 weeks worth of cardiovascular exercise yesterday alone, just doing this.
Nice.
I thought I'd be super sore today, but I'm actually not, believe it or not. Here's actually the nature trail across the way, and then so I love this one because you got the pine trees and such, but it's just so beautiful just seeing what all's out there. Let me find that. Where's that picture of thirst? I think this one, let's see. Maybe I didn't and throw it in my folder here. Oh, yeah, this one here. This is when you're looking up over the dune and then you look across. I could get a little bit higher yet, but you look out and it's just like it's like 5 mile by 5 miles square. So it's like 30 square miles of nothing but this. So, and then on my way down, a middle school field trip shows up. So I didn't include the picture here, but looking down, it looked like an ant farm. There's like just hundreds of people just scattering all over the sand, and it was just a bunch of sixth graders. Then I get up there, they're like, "What's your secret?" They're like half of them were like passing out, like half dead, like only a third of the way up. And I'm like, "Boy, you got a long way to go." I didn't hit that phase until I was up almost near the top. It was like. I have not been that tired in my life, though. That was the hardest hike I've ever done. Like hiking up the Lassen volcano was nothing compared to that. So it's crazy. All right, guys. Tomorrow, weekly news roundup. I hope I have a really super busy day tomorrow. Planning on it. But we will do the weekly news roundup tomorrow. If for whatever reason I completely fall off the planet, look for it on like Saturday or something. It should be tomorrow. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you all next time.
Bye, everyone.
Good night, everybody.